Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that is often overlooked, something that is rarely discussed in the aftermath of a breakup, a separation, or even a falling out. We often focus on the person who leaves, the one who moves on, starts anew, and seemingly thrives. But what about the one who stays behind? What about her? What does she face when the dust settles, when the door closes, and when the world moves forward without her? This is not a story of victimhood. This is not a tale of pity. This is a raw, unfiltered exploration of resilience, growth, and the silent battles fought in the shadows. This is about what she faced after you moved on. 1. The silence that follows. When you moved on, the first thing she faced was silence. Not just the absence of your voice, but the deafening quiet that comes when a shared world collapses. Conversations that once filled her days were gone. The inside jokes, the late-night talks, the mundane updates, all of it vanished, leaving a void that echoed louder than any noise. Silence is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it is painful. It forces her to confront the reality of your absence. But on the other hand, it is transformative. In the silence, she begins to hear herself. She starts to rediscover her own voice, her own thoughts, and her own desires. The silence becomes a mirror, reflecting not what she lost, but who she truly is. This is where her journey begins. In the quiet, she learns to sit with her emotions, to process her pain, and to find solace in her own company. The silence, though initially suffocating, becomes her sanctuary. It is here that she starts to rebuild, piece by piece, the life that was once intertwined with yours, too. The weight of unanswered questions after you moved on. She was left with questions, questions that may never be answered. Why did it end? Was it something she did? Could she have done more? These questions haunt her, replaying in her mind like a broken record. The weight of unanswered questions is heavy. It keeps her awake at night, analyzing every word, every action, every moment of your time together. She wonders if she missed the signs, if she ignored the red flags, or if she was blind to the truth. But here's the thing about unanswered questions. They are not meant to be answered. They are meant to be released. Over time, she learns that closure does not come from you. It comes from within. She realizes that the answers she seeks are not in the past, but in the present. She begins to understand that her worth is not defined by your reasons for leaving, but by her ability to move forward despite them. 3. The loneliness of rebuilding. Rebuilding a life after a breakup is a lonely process. It's not just about filling the void you left behind. It's about creating something entirely new. She faces the daunting task of redefining herself, of figuring out who she is outside of the relationship. This loneliness is not just physical, it's emotional and psychological. She feels isolated, as though no one understands what she's going through. Friends and family offer support, but they can't fully grasp the depth of her pain. She feels like an outsider in her own life, navigating a world that feels unfamiliar and unwelcoming. But in this loneliness, she discovers her own strength. She learns to rely on herself, to trust her instincts, and to find joy in her own company. She begins to see loneliness not as a curse, but as an opportunity, a chance to reconnect with herself and to build a life that is truly her own. 4. The fear of being forgotten. One of the hardest things she faces after you moved on is the fear of being forgotten. She wonders if you ever think about her, if you ever miss her, or if you've erased her from your memory entirely. This fear is paralyzing. It makes her question her worth, her impact, and her place in your life. But here's the truth. Being forgotten is not the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing is forgetting herself. Over time, she realizes that her value is not tied to your memory of her. It is tied to her own sense of self-worth. She begins to focus on creating a life that is so full, so vibrant, and so meaningful that the fear of being forgotten fades away. She learns that her legacy is not in your thoughts, but in her actions. It is in the way she treats others, the way she pursues her passions, and the way she lives her life with purpose and intention. 5. The anger and resentment. Anger is a natural part of the healing process. After you moved on, she felt it deep, unrelenting anger. She was angry at you for leaving, angry at herself for staying, and angry at the world for being so unfair. This anger is not pretty. It's messy, raw, and often irrational, but it's also necessary. It's a sign that she is no longer numb, that she is beginning to feel again. The anger fuels her, giving her the energy to fight for herself, to stand up for herself, and to demand better for herself. Over time, the anger subsides. It is replaced by a quiet resolve, a determination to not let your actions define her. She learns to channel her anger into something productive, into art, into activism, into self-improvement. She transforms her pain into power, and in doing so, she takes back control of her life. 6-bit. The rediscovery of self, after you moved on, she faced the daunting task of rediscovering herself. For so long, her identity was tied to the relationship. She was your partner, your confidant, your other half, but now she is just herself. This rediscovery is both terrifying and exhilarating. She has to figure out what she likes, what she wants, and who she is outside of the relationship. She experiments with new hobbies, new friendships, and new experiences. She makes mistakes, she stumbles, but she keeps going. In this process, she finds parts of herself that she had forgotten, parts that were buried under the weight of the relationship. She reconnects with her passions, her dreams, and her values. She begins to see herself not as half of a whole, but as a whole person in her own right. 7. The emergence of a new chapter. Finally, after all the pain, the silence, the questions, the loneliness, the fear, the anger, and the rediscovery, she emerges. She is not the same person she was before. She is stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This new chapter is not about forgetting the past. It's about embracing the future. She carries the lessons of the relationship with her, but she is no longer defined by them. She is no longer waiting for closure, for answers, or for you. She is living her life on her own terms, with her own rules and her own dreams. This is what she faced after you moved on. This is her story, and it is a story of triumph, of resilience, and of unshakable strength. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, let us not forget the ones who stay behind. Let us honor their journey, their pain, and their growth, because in the end, it is not about who moved on first. It is about who rises stronger, wiser, and more whole. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on her journey, the silence, the questions, the loneliness, the fear, the anger, the rediscovery, and the emergence of a new chapter, we are reminded of the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Her story is not just about survival, it is about transformation. It is about finding light in the darkest of places and emerging not just intact, but stronger, wiser, and more alive. Let this be a reminder to all of us. Life does not end when someone walks away. It begins anew. It begins with the courage to face the silence, the strength to carry the weight of unanswered questions, and the determination to rebuild from the ground up. It begins with the audacity to rediscover who we are and the faith to believe in the beauty of what lies ahead. So, to anyone who has ever felt left behind, who has ever wondered if they could survive the storm, know this: you are not defined by who walked away. You are defined by how you rise, how you heal, and how you choose to move forward. Your story does not end with their exit, it begins with your rebirth. And to those who have moved on, remember this: the ones you leave behind are not broken. They are not defeated. They are warriors, sculpted by the fire of their pain, and they will rise, stronger, fiercer, and more unshakable than ever before. Let us celebrate her journey, let us honor her strength, and let us never forget that, after the storm, there is always a new dawn. Thank you.